Welcome to Trial by Wine. We take a closer look at crimes that highlight how fascinating humans can be. Schmitty, Swanee and Clarkey visit crimes and run them through their jury of three, debating both sides of the case to agree an appropriate, if totally fictitious, sentence. Please be advised, Trial by Wine may include explicit or disturbing content and will include drunken rambling. Listener discretion is advised. All right, how are we?
Not too bad.
Fabbo.
How are you, holiday people?
Yeah, a little dusty.
And why is that?
We may have been discussing how Schmitty's having her mole pills today because she's a little grumpy.
Grumpy because Paul insists on avoiding talking into the microphone.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yep, apologies for that. We've got a solution, we think. So,
But you haven't explained to anybody why that's the case. It's because you're together.
It is.
accurate.
Vacationers.
Well done. We are on the houseboat having a ball.
Having a wild time and
Yes.
really dusty also. Yeah.
Yeah, we've had after our last time we were together when we podcasted, we've had a very strict no pre-gaming rule.
Oh, that's why you were carrying on. I mean, I understood that we shouldn't pre-game, but I've forgotten that we pre-gamed so hard last time that we were
We
absolutely...
were sideways halfway through the first story.
We were talking last night about how patient you are with us, Swanee. How kind you are when we get like that.
I've got such a generous nature. Said nobody who knows me.
And
Oh,
there's
God.
rumours we're doing back to back to back, so we need to have the pace car out so we don't.
Yes, true.
Although,
The
Swanee,
pace car, I like that.
do brace yourself in case you do get the responsibility of taking over the story again, aka the Watcher.
That was so long ago now. It's like years.
It was one of our most memorable episodes.
And what caused it was, of course, white wine.
White wine.
White wine.
And what are we drinking today?
Rosé.
Yeah, white wine's by another name.
Isn't that your next question?
I know.
What are we doing?
Thing. I was
Yeah,
trying
I
to...
know. I'm confused now.
Oh, just...
Did we didn't introduce ourselves. Oh no, the order's gone.
Yeah, honestly, I tell you what, you change one routine and these guys...
Spiraling and not cope.
All right, well, I won't upset you then. I suppose we should introduce ourselves. I'm Schmitty.
I'm Swanee.
And I'm Clarky. And together we are
Trial
by
Wine.
Wine. The reason that I was laughing then was because when it was your turn to say I'm Swanee, I nearly said I'm Clarky because I was thrown by the whole routine was gone.
I know, I stuffed it up for you.
No, I
You're going to
did.
be under a lot of pressure there today to be
No.
on.
I'm going to put my
She's
glass
going to be
down.
like keeping a very
Yeah, she'll...
well-run
We need
ship.
to... If it gets too rough, I'll go and get
Tight
Tony.
Yeah, touch
Oh, hi,
his
Tony.
He's asleep.
He's asleep.
He's been copying it all morning, so he's gone to bed.
And you pass the
now I'm
baton on to you.
Oh, shit.
Your face. Fantastic.
Oh, he's not been copping nothing. He's been fine. What are we drinking?
Rosé. Yay. Yay for rosé.
Diet Coke. And actually, that is
During
a bit of
the
a hurrah
day.
for a Diet Coke because I did drink a bit last night. I may have a drink later. But for now, my first caffeinated drink of the day, I'm quite enjoying it.
And have you got a story for us?
I do. I do have a story. My sources are...
Straight in.
I know. My sources are Wikipedia, the most disappointing entry ever. So there's no reliance on Wikipedia, unfortunately, for a nice bit of
I hate
structure.
those ones.
I
Yeah.
know. And I'm surprised there's not more. But anyway. And then I've also used The Guardian, Sky News, Radio Times, BBC.com. And there is a documentary called TikTok. Oh, and I can't read what I've written down, what it's called. That's my writing is so bad. But I can check because I have it on my phone.
Is this
And I
the
do
story
need
of
to
the
sort of-
TikTok murders?
Yeah. Is that what you've done?
No, I didn't even know there were TikTok
Neither did
murders.
I.
I thought you said TikTok, so I thought,
that's it.
maybe
TikTok
it's the TikTok murders.
Hyphen Murders Gone Viral is the episode. I think there's...
Murders gone viral.
Yeah.
Yuck.
I
That
don't
sounds
know
like
how many
diseases, doesn't it?
episodes or seasons there are, but the one that I've done is TikTok Murders Gone Viral, season 1, episode 1. And I know there's at least an episode 2 because when I went looking for it, I started watching episode 2 going, oh, Jesus, that doesn't look good or sound good. And it's a totally different story. It was a bit freaky. So,
Oh,
yes,
gee,
that's...
can't wait for season 2.
I know. I might have to cover that next. Go and have a look into that. Yes. So
Yes.
my story today is based
Yes.
on those sources is set in the UK and England, and it is a story that involves blackmail, sex
Oh,
tapes.
we've discussed blackmail before.
I'm sure.
Blackmail Moles was the name of the episode.
Blackmail moles. That's right.
Blackmail Moles.
Social media, lies, and more lies.
Brilliant.
Yes, and a
Put
double
them all
murder.
into the pot and stir it up.
A double murder. Yes.
Whoa, whiz bang.
Not to be confused with a double burger
Or a double banger.
or a
No.
double banger. Yeah.
I will get into some of the themes as we sort of get into it, but in some respects, it's not even necessarily the crimes that are the most interesting part of this. I think they definitely are, but when you look at it from a more social perspective, and you'll understand what I mean a little bit later, it is a crime that I would nearly expect it to be reversed. And again, I can't give too much away, but we'll come on to that later. Keep that sort of in the back of your mind. It's quite unusual, I think, for the community in which this crime comes from. But anyway, that's kind of the interesting part and the bit that got me hooked. So where is it set? Get your maps out, kids. Miss Geography. We're starting in Stoke-on-Trent.
Oh, I know
Which-
it well.
Stoke-on-Trent.
Yeah. So
Up
I
in the
kind of,
Potteries.
I think of it sort of in the middle bit. It's
Yeah.
actually in
It's a
Staffordshire.
bit north than the middle bit, isn't it?
Yeah, I think you're
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
It's in Staffordshire. And then I'm also going to be talking about Leicester, which is East Midlands. And I kind of thought it was like that. But when you start looking at any maps and anyone who's spent any time in the UK, all of these cities and towns are so well connected by motorways and whatever else. You know, the distances between them aren't great. And depending on when you're traveling in, it can be relatively short trips, an hour here, there, and everywhere. It's like it's tiny. It's not Western Australia, that's for sure.
It's the size of Victoria, but it still takes forever to get anywhere because of the traffic.
Yeah, because there's so many people.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
so
roadworks.
that's sort of where the scene is set. And I need to introduce you to two women. They are a mother and daughter. First of all, there is a mother, and her name is Anshreen Bukhari. And she was born in Pakistan, and then her family immigrated to the UK when she was a baby. So she grew up in the UK, and I've read that she had really wanted to be an air hostess and go to college, and her father wouldn't allow it. So that was kind of the end of that dream. And so she went on to become, get married, and she had two children, a son and a daughter. And her daughter is a woman by the name of Mahek Bukhari, and Mahek and Asreen, a mother and daughter, had a very, very strong bond, great relationship, in fact. And Mahek was born in 1999, the daughter. So in 2018, there's YouTube, I say footage, but there's 46 minutes of it. And I think it's her sort of first foray into what would be social media. And it's her mother, Ashreen, and her father and her brother, and they're in Turkey, and they're on a holiday as a family of four. And it goes on and on and on and on and on. And it's just lots of scenes of them out in the marketplace or at the Blue Moss, whatever else. And then occasionally she, has footage of her and a mother, a brother, a dad, a bit of family. But you can really tell it's like an amateur's first go at talking to camera, trying to engage people, trying to work out what sort of, profile she would have if she was going to be a social media influencer, which is kind of where this all started. So
Social
Sure
media
enough.
influencers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's a bad
At this
start.
point, to look at her at this point, she looks like a young Asian in the UK sense, which is usually not the way we in Australia we think of Southeast Asian.
They call them
predominant.
Orientals, don't they?
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
So I presumably Pakistani background. But she's like a young girl. Mum looks like a mum. The girl's got some fake eyelashes on, but for that age, it's pretty standard what she's got
Does
going
she
on.
look like a horn bag?
At this point, no, she doesn't. At this point, she
At
just
this
looks
point.
like
At this
she's
point,
just,
I
at this
know.
point.
I think there's a real clarifying.
We
bit there.
need
At
we
this
need to be
point.
built. We need to work towards something.
It's not a hard no, is it?
Yeah. So as I said, it starts off fairly innocently, really. You can just tell that she doesn't know how to edit something. It's so long format, 46 minutes. I mean, I don't know who would ever be able to sit
46
for 6 minutes.
What?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. She's just filmed everything.
She's not influencing
but
too
it's
many
still
people.
on YouTube and you can still see it. And it's called My Trip to Istanbul, Turkey. And it was from 2018 by Mahek Bukhari. So you go and have a look at that for reference if you're interested. So from this point, a few years ahead, and she actually drops out of uni because she really wants to be a social media influencer, and she's starting to get a bit of a profile. So she goes by the name of May B, May B.
Maybe.
And
Maybe.
Does she?
He's not sure.
When you
Maybe.
start to look at it, you start to see a difference in, what she looks like. And I mean, it's no different, I don't think, than what most young girls are looking at. She's heavily filtered a lot of the time, and it becomes much sexier. It's really quite provocative.
Here
She's
comes
very
the
cool,
horn bag.
bit more gangster. Like, you just get this sense of her being
Gangster.
yeah, like really edgy in a sort of ghetto-y kind of way. Where there's that cross-section of society which is actually people trying to behave like they're part of black culture, and you start to see that infiltrate. And then there's, I think, their own special sort of Asian spin on that. So you start to say, she's doing lots of, Asian dancing, but the next thing you know, she's pretending she's got a gun. There's just, it's all a lot to take in when you're looking at it for trying to assess where her head was at any given point. But I think it's just copying what she's seeing on other platforms and other social influencers doing, and then she's kind of not necessarily modify it, but I guess her audience would be, I'm guessing, predominantly Asian English young people, And I know that there's a massive community within that sort of Middle England. There's a lot of people up there. So she has potentially a lot of followers. So she ends up with a very impressive following. She has 128,000 people following her on TikTok.
Wow.
That is a lot. Now, remember, at this point, I think she's probably about
I think we've got about
21,
6.
On TikTok? Are we on TikTok?
We're on TikTok, yeah.
Oh, look at us, got
We've
it.
been on TikTok for ages.
Oh,
yeah.
TikTok.
Okay.
Please don't talk about that.
No one does anything with it because I haven't got time, so it's not a great channel.
Good.
Yeah. Your Canva promos, I whacked a few of those
did
up
you?
back in the day.
How'd they go?
Oh, got a couple of
6
whoops.
followers. Pretty
6,
well, I think.
Smashed it.
I need to get more guns and
You're so
gangster into them.
Don't be modest, Clarky. Don't be modest.
There's not enough
Yeah.
horn bag in those promos, I think.
Well,
It's not much
Yes.
of anything. They're just short and we had them and I thought I'd give it a go. Sorry, Swanee.
that's all right. So she's got 128,000 followers on TikTok, 45,000 followers on Instagram, and 4,000. Now, it says followers, but that actually might even be subscribers on YouTube. So she's starting to make a bit of coin. She's getting an income, and she's starting to do paid promotions and product affiliations and stuff like that. But
She's
in
got
saying that,
sponsors, unlike us. Yeah.
in saying that, part of her online persona and this sort of package that she's put together is actually her and her mother. And what's happened is
Does her mum know?
oh yes, as Mehek
Okay, yeah.
has sort of grown into this sexier, very confident
Horn
influencer,
bag.
giving advice, doing beauty tutorials, doing dances. Guess who she's doing them with?
Oh,
Mum.
Mum, yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, right.
And her mum, who, when she's got, no makeup on, no filters, looks like a pretty ordinary woman. When she's dolled up and when she's got a filter on, she's, you can't tell who anyone is anymore when you look at these things. I
Yeah,
don't
right.
often see it because I don't follow people like that. But when I went through, there was a lot of stuff in the documentary, they went back and showed footage, but you can also see some of it online. They can look incredible. They really can look so glamorous. The massive eyelashes and the filtered skin and the beautiful hair, and they're doing dance and whatever else. So her mum, I had her when she was pretty young. Mum's like 20 years older than her, a little bit more. Actually, in her early 20s. So actually, this mother-daughter combo is not so daggy. It's kind of, my mum's my best friend. That's the way she promotes it.
A bit like
And-
Kath and Kim.
A little bit like Kath and Kim. That's exactly right. They just start to do a lot of stuff together, and Mum's totally up for it. I've sort of read articles about her, which is she felt like she'd been a little bit cheated in the sense that, when she was a young woman herself, she didn't really get the opportunity to go and do anything that she wanted to do. She became a housewife. So all of a sudden now she and her daughter, who by all accounts, going from your house in Stoke-on-Trent, all of a sudden going up to Leicester or down to Nottingham or Manchester, or all these product launches, they're going to restaurants and parties and shisha lounges apparently. They have this sort of alternative life where the content's only being filmed in their home, but because of the brand associations, they're getting to go to all these different parties and stuff, and the pair of them are relishing it. Her mum is enthusiastically supporting her, and, they're seeing the
But
rewards
why
coming in
wouldn't
terms of
you?
cash.
You're getting money, you're having
Yeah.
a celebrity
Go on
lifestyle.
to shisha lounges.
I mean, shisha lounges.
Does it get any better than
Let's
that?
laugh at that. That's right.
That's the sort of pinnacle.
Hookah and coffee maker. Also makes Julian fries. Something. April.
So there's one particular, I don't know, spot, I don't know what you call it actually. And they do this thing where she's actually saying that she's got an elite relationship with her mother, and her mum's just enthusiastically supporting her. It's like, They are thick as thieves. And as the daughter says, she sees her mum nearly as a sister, because she says that when they're out, her mum also is her mum. So she feels that she can trust her mum and her mum will protect her in these situations where I wouldn't suspect that, it's all above board all the time. I imagine these things, there's a fair bit of grey area when it comes to influencing and when you're turning up to different bars, shisha lounges, restaurants, whatever else. She's still a young girl. So she says, at least having her mum there, she feels like her mum she can always trust her mum. And I think that makes sense. So that's a little bit of background as to our TikTok influencer, Mahik Bukhari, and her mother, Asreen. So things are pretty good in the household of Mahik Bukhari and her mother. I don't really know what Dad's up to. He's probably just working and the little brother, but the women are having a ball. And it's around this time in 2019 that Asreen, the mum, meets a gentleman online.
Uh-oh.
Yes.
Oh.
Through an app called Azar, which I had to look up. Azar! Have you guys heard of it?
No.
No.
Tumblr,
I looked it up, but I'm not
Tinder
really
for
that
Asian
much.
people in the UK.
It's not, I don't think. I thought it was. My understanding is that apparently you can talk to people all over the world and it translates for you potentially. I don't know why you necessarily want to do that or not want to do that. But, I mean, these people are, I don't understand why she was on it, or if it's that prolific or if it was at that point. Anyway, so in 2019, Asreen meets a young guy by the name of Saqib Hussain. And at the time, Saqib Hussain is 18 years old.
No.
But he tells Asreen
that he's
27. Yeah, that he's 27.
How old's Asreen?
Asreen is in her early 40s at this point.
Military sniper and
American sniper and tall blonde, yeah.
Yes,
Here we go.
Exactly.
All right.
I don't know that he ever reveals his age on it. I'm not quite sure, but he does initially lie. So he is young, like 18 years old.
He's a baby.
Correct. Anyway, they end up embarking on a sexual relationship, and she has an
very
on
naughty.
and off again affair with Hussain for about 3 years. And when I say it's on and off, I think there are times where it does go pretty quiet, and then there's times when I guess they meet up, they go to hotels in London or in Manchester, they go to restaurants, they go to shisha bars. That seems to be a theme. And I don't know, I can't truly understand if her daughter is aware of it at this point. I don't know.
Right. She's
but then
not
I
in the
think
hotel
surely
with
her
them
mum
then.
might have had, I mean, if you're that close to your mum, I suspect you'd have to know if your mum's going, I don't know, down to London. I guess she could lie, she's at work. I don't know. But that I am unclear about whether she knew at this point. But in late 2021, so 3 years after the relationship started, and it's on and off, Asreen decides that she no longer wants to be in a relationship with Saqib Hussain. So she tells him, I'm out. No more. We're over.
3 years.
Yeah. 2021, you know what I mean?
And she still thinks he's 27
I
and
don't know.
30 now?
I don't know the answer.
Right.
I would suspect probably not. But that was certainly
So
the
it
way it
takes her
started.
3 years to decide to not go out with a person who's a child.
It's because
Almost.
the
I don't think that had anything to do
the
with it.
physical attraction's worn off and she realised he behaves like a child.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what
find
it is. I
that
mean,
funny.
he's very good looking. He's a very handsome young man. And as I said, when she's looking good, she looks hot. So I don't know. Maybe it's a good thing. Not good thing, but maybe they really had something going on. I don't know.
I think
but-
it was a bit to Clarky's point. It was all good and well, you're hot and I'm hot, but
Yeah.
you're a child.
yeah.
One more fart joke and
I-
I'm out of here. Like, come on, mate. I'm 45. I'm loving funny. Although I have
can't-
friends who are in their 50s who find fart jokes funny. So
Fanny farts are funny.
Oh, God.
oh God,
Oh, God, you people.
so early.
Make me sick.
So base.
Oh, I know.
So base.
Aren't we?
Yes. So base, you make my fanny fart.
Oh,
Too far.
oh God. Rightio, I'm going to move on.
Take
So-
over.
Thank God for that.
So we find ourselves in a situation where Asreen has said no more, and Saqib Hussain is not happy with that outcome.
Oh,
So
here
in
we
fact,
go.
he pleads for her to remain in the relationship, and he doesn't want it to end. And things start to become uncomfortable for Asreen because she's still married. And the thing that I was sort of alluding to at the beginning is I think that when you're watching all these videos of the mother and daughter, you forget they're part of the Muslim community. Like it's not really the done thing.
Not at all.
Correct. And it's so they seem to be so comfortable with the way they're presenting themselves online. There's no sort of boundaries or guard up about, let's stay on the side of or on the side of caution to, keep the community happy. So I think there's a genuine fear from Asreen that, she might get caught out. So
You mean
sure
having
enough,
an affair with this 18-year-old wasn't a step too far already?
No, because no one had
perhaps.
found out. But if she's going to get found out, then it's a step too.
Right.
Yeah, then it's definitely a step too far. Sure enough, you know what's coming next. He then attempts to blackmail her. And he says, if you don't get back with me, if I can't see you, like he's pleading with her, I don't feel that I'm left with any option but other to share the sex tapes and, the images with your husband and son. So it's at this point that she freaks out because now she seems to remember that she's part of the Muslim community and that would be a fate worse than death.
Also,
It's
sorry,
not good,
that's
right?
the only option that you have is to share sex tapes, not go into a monastery or swear off women forever or just find a new girlfriend or sex tapes. Oh, and that's going to make her want to be with you too, being blackmailed.
No, but it might make her be with him whether she wants to be or not. And I don't think
No,
he
that's
cares whether
helpful.
she wants to be.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ansarine claimed that she had tried to end the relationship multiple times, but Hussein would not accept her decision and threatened to expose their affair to her husband and son with intimate photos and videos. So she's saying he becomes very difficult to deal with. It wasn't just her going, right, I've had enough. He then starts this sort of like campaign of you owe me, you owe me. And there's obviously you can go through all the text messages, but he does start saying that he's going to do something she'll regret and that he's a crazy bastard and stuff like that. So where things get
Crazy.
Yeah, crazy mofo.
to is Ansarine
Pity the fool.
tells Mahek, her daughter, that Hussein is trying to blackmail her.
Maybe.
And Mahek ain't having it. No one is going to
Oh,
jeopardize.
no, you didn't.
No one is going to jeopardize
Yeah, fair enough. It's
the gravy
to
train
my
that she
mum.
and mummy are on. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
not going to happen, not on her dime. I don't think it's particularly about father. I don't think that she had any issue with it per se. It was just like, no, this is not going to happen. You're not
Yeah.
going to bring me down. I won't stand for that. So at this point, Saqib Hussein approaches Asreen and says, right, I'll go away, but you need to pay me for all of the dinners and dates and hotel rooms or whatever. You need to pay me £3,000.
Cheap.
Sounds all right.
Okay, done deal.
Yeah. So it's
Can
around
she pay
this
it off
time.
in shisha bar invites?
That was very popular, isn't it? That was mentioned so many times. It was making me laugh. He's, got to a point where he's been pleading and saying, oh, please reconsider, please reconsider. Things have escalated to the point where he's threatened to send the explicit material. And then once Asreen has cracked and gone and told her daughter, the daughter's like, okay, leave it with me. I've got it here.
I'll fick it.
So in a bid to help her mother, Mahek turns to a friend, a car mechanic. His name is Rekan Kawan.
Reckon.
I hadn't thought about that. That's even more relevant later on. Maybe
Oh
I
my
should pronounce
God.
it differently. Rakan? Let's say Rakan then.
Okay.
Rakan Kawan. Not Reckon Car. Oh
Reckon
God, it
Car.
really is Reckon Car. You could definitely say that. Rakan Kawan, let's say that. The pair plotted to lure Saqib Hussein to a meeting to offer to hand him over the £3,000. So right, they've got a reason. There's a reason to meet because, that was the amount that he said that Asreen had cost him and he wanted to be paid back. Rakan Kawan, he enlists help of his best friend, Race Jamal, as well as Race's
Race.
cousin, Amir Jamal, and other friends.
Race and reckon.
Oh gosh, this one's going to be hard for me. Sanaf Gula Mustafa and Natasha
Nailed it.
Akhtar and Mohammed Patel.
Natasha
Jesus,
So
Fuck
Fucktard.
basically, there's a gang. That's
Yeah,
kind
yeah.
of the
It
upshot. 'Cause I
sounds
don't
like
suspect you're going to remember all the names, and I don't think you necessarily
Natasha
need to.
Patel, I'll never forget that one.
No, Mohammed Patel.
Oh, sorry.
It's Natasha
Already
Akhtar
has.
and Mohammed Patel. I was gonna
Nata-
say
it's
it.
Natasha Fucktard.
God.
I don't want to single
Yeah.
her out as being the only fucktard in the group.
I don't want to have to murder their names by trying to pronounce them. again.
Yeah,
So
again.
You
you
don't
get
need
the
to.
idea. There's a gang of
Clarky's,
them.
Clarky's already. Well, Vince,
Yeah,
I said
there's
I'd
a
never
gang of
forget her,
them.
and I forgot her instantly.
Yeah, I'll never forget Natasha Patel.
And it was actually Mo,
Mohammed.
Mohammed Patel.
Yeah.
Mopar.
Mopa, yeah.
What we see here is that Mahek Bukhari has essentially enlisted a group of people to help
Yeah.
her
The
deal
influencer
with
gang.
the problem that is Saqib Hussain. They, remembering that they split up in late 2021, on the 11th of February 2022, there is a meeting that is set. And it's going to happen very late, and it's to happen in a car park at Tesco's in Leicester, where they're saying, let's meet in Leicester.
Good choice.
Classy.
And they're saying, yeah, we'll give you the money.
Give you a
So
kicking.
in Banbury, and that is where Saqib Hussain lives. He doesn't live in Stoke-on-Trent, doesn't live in Leicester. He lives in Banbury. He's in his hometown, and he's trying to like arrange a lift to get to Leicester. So he asks a few friends unsuccessfully, and then one of them agrees, and his name is Hashim Izzajuddin, and he offers to drive him. He has no idea what is going on.
What's
He
going
has
on? Oh.
none at all. Doesn't know about the affair.
He's the
nothing.
innocent
He's
just
just like,
type.
get him a lift.
I'll just give you a
Nice
lift, mate.
guy.
No worry. Yeah. And by all accounts, an incredibly nice guy. So Hashim doesn't know anything that's going on. He's a friend of Saqib's, and he just agreed to drive Saqib to Leicester on the night in question, totally innocent. Like, just not involved in any way,
Doesn't
shape, or form.
deserve
He was
what's
just the
about to
one that
happen.
finally
Yeah.
said, oh, I'll take it.
Maybe don't give two shits for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So at about 1:17 a.m., Saqib and Hashim arrive at the Tesco car park. And there's footage of this. You can see them coming. The car park's totally desolate kind of thing, but very
Yeah.
well lit. And there's another couple of cars there. And they approach. But as they get there, you see their car slow down. And they wait for a few seconds. But they sensed something was wrong. And so instead of stopping and going and looking for Mahek or Ashreen, I don't know who they agreed to, probably both of them. That's who they thought they'd be meeting with. They decide to drive off. They don't stop. They
Smart.
don't get out of the car.
Get
Yeah.
spooked.
So they leave the scene and they're in a Skoda. So their Skoda leaves, but it's followed by two other cars, a blue Seat Leon
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
and an Audi TT.
No.
And
Man,
they are being
man.
driven by people from the gang. whose
Natasha
names I'm gonna-
Faktad.
No, she's not driving. One of them
Mohammed
is
Patel?
the
Was it the
Natasha
blue
Patel.
Seat? His name said what was his name? The
It-
car guy?
No.
Something
Oh,
car.
he-
You're
he's
making
driving
it good
one-
say the hardest.
Wreck-It Ralph?
Rakan
Wreck-It
Carwin
Ralph.
is driving the Audi
Rakan.
TT.
Wreck-It
So
Ralph
Rakan
one.
is driving the Audi TT. And his best friend, Race Jamal, Race,
Good old Race,
Race, he's driving the Seat Leon.
Okay.
Right. So those two men are driving, but there are passengers in those cars.
Is it a high speed chase or a slow speed
Not yet.
chase? Like, are they go
Not
by
yet.
the
At the
rules so
moment,
far?
they've just followed them out of the Tesco's car park. At this point, the police know from records they were able to ascertain that there was calls between Saqib and Mahek, which would make sense if he was going to go and expect to be
Yeah,
collecting money from
later.
her. So that would make sense, right? Then he would call her. But that's not quite what was going on, obviously. There's no recording of that, but I imagine it gets pretty heated. So they never know what exactly is said, but they know that there were heated words of exchange based on people's testimony in the different cars. And then about a minute after that, Saqib calls 999.
Oh.
So things have already started to escalate, and he's definitely being followed by, and his friend being by two cars, the Seat and the Audi TT.
So far,
Now-
that sounds like quite a sensible thing to do.
do we need to say
Yeah.
that 999 is the UK 000/911, or does everyone know that already?
I don't know what people know. It's the emergency services,
Yeah,
basically. Yeah.
Hmm.
If you dial 911 in the UK and in Australia, it still goes to the respective emergency services.
Is that
I
right?
never used to.
It does now.
Yeah, right, because
People
people
so
were
used to
dialing
hearing
on the
911.
TV,
on
yeah.
the TV or whatever.
Oh, that's a great idea. I didn't know that. You know, I want to go and
Maybe
check
we
it
should
now.
just change them all to 911. Anyway,
It would make more sense, I think. So at this point, he's not driving. Remember, his friend, the innocent guy, has seen Izzajuddin. He's driving. And imagine the surprise he's got, right? Not
Yeah.
knowing where he's going,
what do you
what's
mean,
going
make
on.
me hurry up?
Gee,
What,
this
yeah,
escalated
yeah.
quickly.
Go.
what the fuck is
Do you
going
know these people?
Yeah, what would you mean we're going? Okay. So
I was
Sakib-
surprised that Tesco was closed. I thought it was a 24/7.
I thought we were going to Macca's in Leicester.
Yeah. I thought we were going to go and do donuts in the Macca's car park.
But,
Like
you know,
good
rightly
chairs.
so, Sakib calls the police and he tells the operator that his car is, or their car is being followed. He said that the car behind him was trying to ram him off the road. And that frantic call actually lasts about 5 minutes where they've got them
Wow.
online. Yeah. And Sakib and Hashim continued down the dual carriageway, going through a red light in an effort to lose who were pursuing them. You can listen to this. It's quite awesome to listen to, as you can imagine. Just the sheer panic of what's sort of going to happen, I think. And what happens is when he starts talking about them being blocked in, and of course now you can look at all the footage because on the dual carriageway it's pretty much the whole thing's covered, if not most of it, or there's other footage coming from other, you know, businesses nearby, you know, looking out onto the thing. And there's clear footage where his car is being blocked in the middle. So he says being blocked in, and there is footage from a car dealership which clearly shows the car being blocked in with the vehicle in front trying to brake and stop the car.
side.
You can hear on the call Sakib saying to Hashim, send it, which is an indication for Hashim for them to just go and get out of there. They don't know what's happening. They don't like what's happening. It's just like, just get out. You can tell how fearful they are in their voices, and they don't know what's happening, but they've just gone through a red light and they're still being followed. Whoever's after them is after them. The other people didn't stop at the red light. So this is all being recorded. The final moments are extremely distressing. Towards the end, the line goes silent for 10 seconds before the operator asks if Sakib is still there. The call becomes emotional, quite upsetting, and you can hear that they're right behind them, and then there's screams, and then there's quiet, and then the car is driven off the road. Just after 1:30, a recovery driver was travelling alongside the A46 when he saw a car on fire next to a tree. After realising no one had called the police, he blocked off the road with his truck, and the first police officers arrived about 10 minutes later, closely followed by firefighters. After the fire was put out, one of the police officers saw the bodies of the two people in the car. Further up the road, the Audi and Seat drivers pulled over. Mahek took over as driver of the Audi and Natasha the Seat. So when the car had been driven off the road, it kind of split and then hit a tree and caught on fire. So it was just, there's footage of like the burnt out part of the car, like you can just see over the guardrail, like where it's just horrendous. So it was a fiery end to that. So where do the gang go? What happens with the gang? They head back to Leicester to lay low, and on the way back, they drove past the burning wreckage. So they came back to check what was going as they went back.
To the UE and came back, yeah.
Once they arrived in the city, this is all, they can tell this now, this is all like, footage of them doing this. They pull up in a Sutton Place, which is a quite cul-de-sac away from prying eyes. The group get out of the cars and they just begin walking the streets, and they're spotted at various points from different cameras up until about 2 a.m. where they're picked up on CCTV on a freezing cold February morning, just walking around talking. Officers believe that, having looked at the footage, that were obviously talking about what their cover story was going to be and preparing that, talking about that together. They then either walked home or were dropped off. Natasha, who was a registered owner of the Seat, began her journey back to her home in Birmingham, while the Bakharis headed north to their home in Stoke-on-Trent. What they didn't realise was, meanwhile, Leicestershire police knew something the group did not. Sakib's 999 call had been passed on to detectives, and they had already begun scouring automatic number plate recognition cameras that they have on. Yeah. They put out an alert.
ANPRs, I think you'll find. Yeah.
That is, how'd you know that?
Because you said it. Automatic number plate recognition. But I also know that they're known as ANPR cameras.
That's exactly right. I didn't
on the
know
motorway.
that.
Yep.
They put out an alert, and two officers in the West Midlands spotted Natasha's Seat. They began to follow her and later boxed her in at a petrol station.
How do you like it, bitch?
Yeah,
How you
before
like
this
that?
happened,
Honey,
she
how you like
called
that?
Race in a panic. So
Did you
remember,
know fucked up? She's a fucked up.
Race
Yeah,
was, that's
Race is
Natasha. Race is the best friend of Carly.
Wreck-It Ralph. Wreck-It Ralph.
Wreck-It Ralph. Yeah. So there's a call that's gone to him at that point as soon as she's been blocked in and she's in a bit of a panic. She was arrested and taken into custody.
Good.
Shortly after 8 a.m., Mahek and Azreen were woken at home by the sound of police speaking to Mahek's father and brother. At this point, Mahek, who'd been asleep, noticed she had a raft of missed calls from Race, who knew the police had found Natasha.
Fucked
While
hard.
officers
They were
from
always gonna get the
Staffordshire
fucked
Police
hard, weren't they?
continued to speak to the male members of the house, who clearly would have had no idea what had happened,
No, they're like,
Mahek
what?
calls Reyes back. She then sent a text to her mother in the next room explaining what she would say to officers, and then dressed in a pink,
Sent a
fluffy,
text.
oversized
really
hoodie.
dumb.
Schmitty, what you've got on?
And hoodie, right? Yeah, yeah.
Oh, no, that's not an hoodie, it's a hoodie, fair to be fair. Dressed in a pink, fluffy, oversized hoodie, Mahek lied to police, saying that on the night of the crash, they had been on their way to Nottingham for a social media event. The pair were later arrested and taken to a police station in Leicester.
Dang.
Then watching the footage from this point on, she just lies and lies and lies. And her
Yeah,
mum says
right.
nothing. Her mum's silent pretty much. I don't know the mum says anything from what I can understand. So Anstreen says nothing, and Mahek just piles on one lie after another, after another, after another. So when she has been arrested and she's being interviewed by police, rather surprisingly, they play her Saqib's 999 call, and she appears to be totally taken aback. Like, she's like, oh, God. Instead of conceding defeat, she broke down in tears and said that Saqib lies so much and had manipulated events. She's still blaming him and saying what an
I know,
awful
he
person
totally
he was.
manipulated it. Like,
Yeah.
he wasn't really in that car. He didn't really die in a fiery, horrible car accident. It's a manipulation.
It's crazy, isn't it?
I mean, jeepers.
Just such an awful, awful way to go. So on the afternoon of Friday, 4th of August, 2023, so this is 18 months later, both of the Hussein and Ajazuddin families prepared to find out the fate of those accused of their loved ones' murders. And I've seen both of their fathers interviewed, and both of their fathers come across as very eloquent, very calm, very kind people who are just devastated by the loss of their sons. And
Yeah.
the ones who... Saqib Hussein's father says, look, there had been a change in his personality. We'd noticed he'd been, more retreated. He wasn't himself. Something wasn't quite right. But if he had have come to us, we could have helped him, but I don't think he would necessarily have done that. And as for the other family, whose gorgeous son already had do you know how sometimes things happen and someone dies and they've already had such a massive impact on community and people? He was one of those really good souls.
Yeah, right.
And people just adored him. It already had a football team named after him, did stuff for charity. He was just such a good guy. So, his brother and his father were seeing him just absolutely devastated. This beautiful boy, their son and brother, had been taken from them. So they were really hoping for not retribution, that's absolutely not, but just the
Justice.
Lord of justice to
Yeah.
play out. So the jury deliberated for more than 28 hours, and Mahek was seen laughing and waving from the balcony in the courtroom. She had been very confident throughout the whole thing. I really don't think she thought what was going to happen did. So when the verdict came, she burst into tears as the jury found both her mother
She's just
and
deluded.
herself guilty of 2 counts of murder.
Yeah. Both guilty, 2 counts of murder.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
Rakan,
Well, they're so
Cowan and Race
organised at that.
Jamal, the drivers of the 2 cars, were also found guilty of both murders.
Whoa.
And Natasha Akhtar, Sanif, Gula Mustafa and Amir Jamal were both convicted of 2 counts of manslaughter. And that leaves Mohammed Patel. And they never mention his name in the documentary, but and he is cleared because he was one of those who just happened to be
State's
there.
witness? Or
And
just
it ends up that, he tells them what the
he
conversations
testified.
were.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't part of it as such. I think he just ended up there on the night. And
Or he had a good
and
lawyer.
probably both. But then he also told there was a really important discussion between the 2 drivers of the cars, between Race and Rakan, and where they're like, we're going to have to just sort him out now. We're going to have to run him off the road.
Yeah, right.
So he was the one who was able to say that actually happened.
What was the distinction of the 2 that got manslaughter? Was that because they weren't driving, or was there something else? Yeah,
Yes, I
right.
think that's right. So Mahek got a life sentence, 31 years and 8 months minimum. Her mother, Ansreen, also got life, 26 years, 9 months. Rakan Cowan, 29, who brought in Rose Jamal, 23, to help carry out the murders after Bukhari had approached him, was also jailed for life with a minimum of 26 years and 10 months and 31 years, respectively, for 2 counts of murder. That doesn't make sense. 3 others were found not guilty of murder but guilty of manslaughter, which was said.
It does make sense. If it's respectively, though, I think it's one after the other, so it's
Not
consecutive.
consecutively? Yeah.
No, it is consecutive,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
concurrent.
Not concurrent.
Not concurrent. Right.
So never coming out or not going to be up for promotion for a long time.
Natasha, actor, and they're just so young, wasted their lives. 23, was jailed for 11 years and 8 months, while Amir Jamal, 28, and Sanif Gula Mustafa, 23, were jailed for 14 years and 8 months and 14 years and 9 months. All were present in the 2 vehicles, the Audi and the Seat, used in the fatal car crash. During sentencing, Judge Timothy Spencer, KC, said TikTok and Instagram were, quote, at the heart of the case, as Bukhari dropped out of university to pursue her career as influencer. He argued if she had not done so, she would be looking forward to the rest of her life. The judge added, Ansreen had made the calamitous decision of putting the response of the sex tape threat against her in her daughter's hands. Mr. Hussein and Mr. Ajazuddin were lured into meeting with the Bukharis in the Tesco car park on the pretense of paying him the £3,000 he said he spent on taking his lover out for dates. Cars ended up in the chase, which analysis by forensic collision investigators on the Audi TT say that her car had reached up to speeds of 100 miles per hour.
It's pretty fast.
That's fast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was 60 k's, isn't it?
Yeah, it's and that, my friends, is the story of the TikTok influencer Mahik Bukhari and her mother. So it is highly unusual. They were saying that there's a mother and daughter crimes. It's not really that common, let alone, you know, a mother-daughter team within a Muslim community. It just feels like, and because the 2 victims are male as well, it feels like so often that you're hearing crimes against
Yeah.
women in these communities. So
Yep.
this feels like it's turned on its head. So I can only imagine how captivating it must have been for not only that community, but it must have been a big, big story in the UK when it came out. It's quite, you know, and just you've probably already had a look. If you see the images of the mugshots, that without them being all dolled up, all you can see is the fact that Mahek's got the world's biggest fake eyelashes on, but a mum doesn't have
say
anything.
something else then.
No,
Yeah,
and a
right.
mum just looks like, you know, a tired middle-aged woman, really. It's not very different. But the reality is not the reality, right? Their reality was this filtered,
Yeah.
made for a specific audience, sexed up, you know, looking like they haven't living this life that is so aspirational to so many people, let alone people in a community where perhaps women feel like they don't have these opportunities. I can only imagine. No, I can understand why she was as popular as she was, because there must have been a lot of people who thought, I can't do that, but I can live vicariously through them, or wow, I'd like a bit of that. So I found it quite an interesting little story. Thoughts? Anyone?
Gosh, it's a lot, isn't it?
Gosh.
Oh, it's just sad for the guy who was just giving someone a lift and being nice. When you talk about him as having already been so amazing in the community and so well loved, and it's like I was thinking at the time, it just doesn't cater to nice things, does it?
Oh,
Yeah,
God,
just
not in this instance.
can I have a
no.
lift? No, no, I have to say no.
Yeah. But also the lawlessness
Pass.
of
Yeah,
maybe to think that, you know, there's £3,000 and they could have avoided all of that. But no, I've got to prove that I'm tough and you don't mess with me or my mum. I'll kill you. I'll kill you dead. Like
there's no need to kill him at all.
but it's such an
Overcorrection.
yeah, I was going to say overkill.
Yeah, overkill.
Like, what's that even into your mind in that situation? That
Do you think that
the
they
best
meant?
thing's to him murder.
Do you think they meant to tell them like that?
Yeah,
then?
I do. Not like that.
Yeah.
They had a weapon. The weapon had been not a carjacker. What's the thing you do with the
Tire.
tire?
Right?
Yeah.
Tire.
Yeah.
So I think they thought they were going to
Or
attack
stardust.
him in the
Car park.
Tesco car
press.
park. Yeah, but again, that would have all been filmed. I was like, there's no way you can go where you don't get. They hadn't really thought it through that well, had they?
No,
It sounds like they were clearly aiming just to beat the shit out of them. But
Well,
do you
there
think
was-
it was murder?
No, but there was also what didn't you say there were phone calls between 2 of them saying we've just got to do it or something?
Yeah, that was between. No, I think they were going. The plan was to kill him.
Yeah, it's
They
not
just wanted the
necessary.
problem to go away.
It's such a weird and twisted next step in that
Totally.
scenario.
Yeah.
Like they could have gone to the police for God's sakes and said,
Absolutely.
you know, there's no crime that they've committed to that point.
No.
They just
No,
had
and in fact, he's the one who's doing the blackmailing, so he would be the one who'd be
That's
punished.
what I mean. He's the
Yeah.
one. So they could have gone, we'll play us straight that week, good people.
She started to do this stuff, and I think it was before the stuff going on with the mum, but there was more sort of this gang style stuff that she was doing and being
Yeah.
more threatening and cool and, don't fuck with me, that kind of stuff that
Yeah.
was, starting to be more prevalent on her page.
Yeah.
And I don't know exactly. I mean, I'm sure it happened after the fact, after being back, but maybe it was happening prior to that as well. But she just kind of thought she was untouchable in some ways,
Yeah.
and also was not going to jeopardize this cash cow that she was now sitting on. And they had this lifestyle that was everything she'd probably ever dreamed of, and could see where it was heading. It was all guns ablaze, and she was doing so well.
The thought process of, I'm not going to jeopardize my career
Because
I'm going to
murdering
kill
someone.
someone.
Yeah.
It's not like she's tried to kill him and hide the body and not get caught. And
There's nothing until
it's such a full bore, testosterone fueled way of killing someone.
It's ridiculous.
And then thinking I'm going to get away with it because I don't know.
I don't know why though.
No,
I tried to find out where her father and Serene's husband was at. And, he doesn't feature in the documentaries that I've seen, but there's a brother obviously as well. So the father had zero idea. He had no idea that she was having an affair. He did not know anything about anything until the police turned up. Yep. And he was in court, and there's a statement saying that the daughter was like waving to her dad and whatever else. But he didn't go when they were being held. I think it was 10 months when they were being held in prison before the court case. He didn't go and visit Anne Stream once. But I don't know if he went to visit his daughter. I would assume he may have. But she said that her husband had no idea, and that he plays no role in any of it. Like, it's not like he was a good guy or a bad guy. It's just no mention of this guy. It's just he's sort of superfluous to the story. It's weird.
Story.
Yeah, it's all about these women and their relationship and their life.
The crowd that maybe he's gotten in with, to be able to just rally a group of people who will get in a car with the purpose of running someone off the road and killing them.
Yeah.
I
don't think that any of them except the first guy knew Bukar personally. I think they're obviously aware of her and were probably followers of hers.
Right.
But they were not her friends. They were not people she had grown up with. She knew the car mechanic. She'd gone to him. So there's that step removed where they weren't doing it because they were her friend. They were doing it because she was maybe, she was this woman with a profile. I'm assuming they'll, and star fuckers. I don't know what they were doing, what they were thinking. Who would go,
star fuckers.
All right, I'm prepared to be involved. Not all. I mean, obviously Mohammed
Certainly
Patel
not for a TikTok influencer. Fuck off.
No.
Oh,
I mean, also
God.
she's got 118,000. I mean, it's not
that big.
huge. It's more than I would ever have, but it's not.
Us.
I think
Couple
by
more than us.
127,000.
994.
What a good insight to the troubles of our times. Like, it's, you talk about all of the social media stuff that has bad implications on society, and it's such a good example of that.
Yeah.
The drive for fame and popularity at the expense of everything.
If you could see the footage of her being interviewed by the police, and it's just sort of like this audacity that comes with somebody who has been adulated for doing nothing and for putting a filter over their face and
that's the thing.
dancing along to a little thing and then get ready with me and do their makeup. It's so shallow that when they're being asked questions, I don't think that I was really sort of a bit gobsmacked by how stupid she thought the police were and what the stuff that she was saying would have any effect on them. It was just more like sort of sound bites of little things that she thought, he was so manipulative, meaning, ex-boyfriend or whatever. It was just, it was just all these sort of throwaway things and then getting herself, confused. And, she had to tell them who she was. I'm an influencer and I'm kind of a big deal kind of thing. Oh, God, it was so bad. But I don't know. Schmitty, thoughts?
Well, I certainly think from a sentence perspective, you'll probably go down the same line, but strip her of everything, like no computer, no profile, no
filters,
no filters, no eyelashes, no makeup, no endorsement, no sponsorship, you're no one, you're nothing, and you just live in jail or wherever knowing that you're no one. Like,
the victims, apart from the poor guy who just gave him a list, but the guy who actually, was blackmailing or talking about blackmailing, he's not, innocent of everything, but you certainly don't deserve to die like that. So I suppose if you at the time you want a machine, you just sort of go back and you put a malware over Azar so they never meet in the first place. Azar, so they can never meet in the first place. And then this sort of really unfortunate series of events could not have taken place. And then she can just sit at home, and her mum can sit at home and go to mosque, not be out at the shisha bar, and not be out, down in London and having this wild time, but just sit at home and be a wife and mother and just calm the fuck down.
I think that Anne-Serene has a lot to answer for someone who's very quiet and has gone along with everything. I think we kind of nearly forget that she was the mother in this situation. And from the outset, she has been sort of happy with what was going on with her daughter. She was loving being involved. She was loving the fact that her daughter had this profile. So she wasn't really playing the role of mother. She was playing this sort of like enabling best friend. As her daughter became more popular, more whatever else, so did she, and her profile changed, and then she felt she was more attractive.
She built her own sort of celebrity off the back of it.
She did. And I think that Mahek absolutely doing it. But Mahek is 21. She's not a grown woman with 2 children and a husband. She's a young girl who's, drunk on the power of celebrity. But her mum's the one that I go, come on, you've got 2 children and a husband within the Muslim community. I think she had a job. I think that I read somewhere that she was a director of a security company. Like, she had responsibilities and stuff. And then she was so not enamored. There's some word I'm thinking, it's going to come to me later. So taken with this lifestyle and this change and how empowered and sexy and different she felt, that she then was the one who went and had the affair, right?
Oh, she was definitely corrupted by it all.
She was the one corrupted by it. That's a great way of looking at it. Yeah. So that at what point then she goes to tell her daughter, and then her daughter comes to phone, does she just go, oh, no, darling, you can't do that. We can't.
No, I'll get in the car with you.
Yeah. So I think that the mum
idea.
And it's funny because
let's go fuck some people up.
Mahek was the one that got all the bad press. Meanwhile, if mum just sits there quietly and goes, no comment, whatever
it's the
else.
quiet ones you got to watch.
And I'm like, wow, this really unravelled at this point. Maybe something else would have happened down the track, but it unravelled because of mum. It unravelled because mum was so prepared to go along with anything to feel this way and look this way and feel relevant and popular and admired. That was everything she probably realised that she probably wanted, never had in their small life. It was like she jeopardized everything because that's
everything
what
at
she
risk.
Yeah.
The other thing is, in asking for £3,000 for hotel rooms and meals and all that sort of stuff, it's not really. I mean, he's saying if you don't pay that, I'll expose what happened. But it's not like it's just some random figure where he's trying to get rich. He's going, well, I don't know why he's paying for all of that as the 21-year-old and she's not anyway. It makes her even worse.
Same as 27.
Doesn't matter. Like, she's the one with the fame and the money, supposedly, and he asked for it back. And it's not.
And the fact they forgot about that bit. The fact that he was 18 and, she's, oh, God.
I know.
It's just, she gets away with it a lot in the press. It's all about Mahek. Mahek
it's
really
not the age
it.
difference that's the problem. It's the whole thing, and that is one element of where it all went wrong.
Yeah. I think the age difference is a problem when you're talking about someone as young as 18.
The age difference became a problem for her too.
Yes.
She's the oldest one.
Yeah.
Going out with someone who is
a child.
She's being the irresponsible one in that regard.
Yes, she is. Yeah.
Be careful what you pray for. You just might get it. So I think this whole drive for fame and how ugly it all became makes me want to send them to Trial by Wine World to the Thunderdome, and they can both go into the Thunderdome, and then we're going to drop the Fame Monster in. So, Lady Gaga's album, The Fame Monster.
Yeah.
But I think we're going to have to create an actual physical fame monster. So it's going to, I think it needs to have the head of Lady Gaga on the cover of the Fame Monster, which looks a little bit like Sia, the blonde
does, look at this,
wig with the
start with, yeah.
bob and the
Into the
dark
bow.
eyebrows. But then I think it probably needs to have like 6 arms, maybe claws, maybe a couple of knives or something. And they're going to go, 24 hours in the Thunderdome with the Fame Monster. And of course, the Fame Monster is going to fuck them up.
Yeah.
The Fame Monster fucked them up proverbially.
In the first place.
Now it's going to do it literally.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it might be a public flogging too.
I think this episode now needs to be called Beware the Fame Monster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's not even any substance to the reason for the murder, really. It's just there's no substance to the whole social media thing. There's no substance to Maybe and to the mum. And people had died a horrific death that they really didn't need to. There was no...
The father of Sakiba, I think it was, said that one of the things that he regrets doing was listening to the recording. Because you can, I don't know, it's that thing, because it's like in real time when you're listening to something going,
Yeah.
you can hear the fear and but what they don't mention their names or anything, because they didn't know who was driving, because they wouldn't have known that, right? They could have mentioned Mahek, but they didn't. But they were just being chased. They didn't know that she was in the car.
That she was even in the car.
No.
Well, the thing is, like from their perspective, and I guess this is what I was trying to say about the £3,000, it's not like he's gone, I want £500,000 and I'm doing something that is completely outrageous. It's from his perspective, it's still normal life, right? He's not doing anything.
Not setting himself up.
And he's not part of a criminal underworld. He's not committing burgs. He's not doing anything other than he's fallen for a 45-year-old who has cut it off with him and he's taken it badly. There's nothing he's done to that point would lead him to think that someone's going to kill him. So there's
that's right.
Those two in that one car and the others in the other 2 cars.
Yeah.
And they're from completely different worlds.
Yeah. And that's why Mahek gets the rap, right? Is because she's the commonality between everybody. She's the one that came up with
but the
plan.
terror that those two must have gone through, because it's so far removed from their life. There's nothing, sometimes people are part of the gangland and that sort of shit happens and it's like, oh, that would have been awful. But also they've lived a pretty rough life.
One of the things that the detectives were sort of quoted saying, and I sort of thought about it for a moment, was they said, they didn't at any point after they'd ran them off the road do the right thing. They didn't call the police. But I mean, to what end, really? I guess it was obviously they were already gone.
Well, they got the result they wanted too,
but they did that. And then the driving back past. It's like I just wondered what, none of them seemed to be uncomfortable with it when it was going down. No one said at any point, because they've got the testimonies all in the cars, I think this is a bad idea.
Yeah.
Shit, let's go, or this is going to end badly, or this is not what I signed up for. No one said it. They just kept going and had like a end goal, and they were just driven to do that.
Job done. Let's go for a walk. Back of assholes.
What about you, Swanee?
I don't know. I was trying to think of something that the thing I found quite interesting is normally you'd be in a situation where to shame somebody or put them in a situation where you're trying to prove something. I was saying, imagine if this came out in front of your community. But I don't think that they were that bothered by that.
No.
Really?
Yeah.
I think that the motivation to kill him was not to protect them from the father or the community. I really don't think that.
Tapes.
Correct. I actually think it was to protect the fame and the social media presence.
Yeah,
so,
and that image of no one fucks with
which is not what I would typically expect within a Muslim community. I would have thought everything would come underneath how you're viewed by your people, because that comes out time and time again. But they seem to be lost on Mahek and Serene. They were like, oh, no, this is what's our most important thing. We'll protect that. So I could only sort of, to your end, Schmitty, is have it so that that's the thing that's the most important thing to them, which has obviously been taken away from them anyway. Thank God. I just don't want them to have, or certainly Mahek to have any profile or be able to do anything from inside.
I mean, they are fame monsters, aren't they?
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was sad, Swanee. So thanks. No, it was I hadn't heard that. And it's quite recent too. I suppose, as we say every week, miss you already.
Ciao.
Miss you already. Ciao.
Thanks for listening to Trial by Wine. You can contact us at trialbywine@gmail.com. Please rate, review and subscribe to Trial by Wine on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. If you'd like to support us, you can become a patron at www.patreon.com, Trial by Wine, or visit our website www.trialbywine.com to donate to us. Your support will help us cover many more cases and apply wacky sentences. We really appreciate you listening and hope you tell everyone about us. Our cover art is by John Christo and music is by Beauchamp from Pixabay.com.